Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Donna. If this is not your first time joining me, welcome and welcome back. Um, if you've been around and putting up with me all this time, and thank you for coming today. Um, Hello, who do we have? We have Christine and Celeste. Hi there. Hello, Y and Boop to you. Yes. So, my subject is fighting the stigma. And there is a lot to be said for that. And I have to apologize because my notes that I took on this got misplaced in all the hustle and bustle that we had yesterday in my home. Hello, Silver Willow. Yes. For those of you who may not know already, um, I just got back from the hospital with my son, um, who was being treated for a gunshot wound. So we had we had a lot going on, and I wasn't altogether sure I was going to be able to make it here today for this event. But I'm very, very thankful that it wasn't worse than it was, and that we are indeed home now. And I may be exhausted and like half asleep, and my thoughts are very, very jumbled and all of that, but I'm here. So, yes, we do not know the amount of damage that he has yet, but we will find out, I believe, on Monday if we can get in for a follow up with the surgeon. So, yes, that's certain things you, as a mother, you just never, ever, ever expect to hear when you're in your laundry room is gunfire followed by "Mom, I shot myself." Not fun. So, anyhow, we are here, and we're going to talk about the stigma that sometimes is associated with not being like everyone else. And it's the same if on any kind of fringe area in which we live. And if you are into tarot and oracle and anything witchy or any kind of woo woo anything, you're bound to have already experienced some level of judgment and stigma. Or, people might look at you like you have three heads, or, they might not take you seriously, or they might be afraid of what you do. And I just thought, let's talk about that and ways to deal with that. And yeah, I want to thank Wasima for inviting me to participate in this event. And I think this is wonderful. And 2020 is coming on us really quickly. I mean, it's when you think 2020, I mean, New Year's is next month, and it's rapidly coming. I mean, just over a month, and we're going to be in 2020. And so, yeah, let's start it off on the right foot. And with that intention of owning who you are and living unapologetically and not letting these things get to us so much. And I came across something this morning that I thought was really, really, really fitting. And I'm going to read it for you because I wrote it down. Finding yourself is not really how it works. You are not a $10 bill in last year's winter's coat pocket. You are not lost. Your true self is right there, buried under cultural conditioning, other people's opinions, and inaccurate conclusions you drew as a child that became your beliefs about who you are. Finding yourself is actually returning to yourself, an unlearning, an excavation, a remembering of who you were before the world got its hands on you. And on that note, I want to talk a little bit about what why I'm here today, how I got to be where I am today. Whenever I was a child, I had a necklace that was very much like this. Actually, not entirely. It was a quartz crystal, and I had the crystal, and then I found an old necklace that was like costume jewelry, and I super glued it into the clasp on that necklace. So I kind of created my own setting. But I was a child, and I was using this as a pendulum, asking it questions, getting to know it, and trusting it, and following my own expression of belief. And so that was before the world really got its mitts on me and told me what to believe and who to follow and what to own. And before I had that fear that was imposed upon me, that so many people, you know how it is. So on down the road, I find myself with all this judgment, all this, you're going to go to hell. you these things are of the devil. You have to be careful. You know that fear was imposed on me, and so of course I was trying to do everything I could to you want to know that you're okay and have a sense of security. And um long story short, I ended up in the church for a long time. I was a youth pastor, for heaven's sakes. um but I found that it just, things didn't resonate. I wasn't who I was. I wasn't able to have that full expression of myself and ask the big questions. So now I find myself here, and I have come from a family of Christians who, I have one sister that reads tarot. You may know her, may have met her here on YouTube. I have a brother that reads tarot. But everything is done very much in secret. I have one sister who is extremely religious, who I have not talked about tarot with her. I do not know if she knows that I even use tarot, because if I told her, she may think, oh my gosh, my sister's going to go to hell. We have to understand that sometimes when people are judging us, it is not for anything other than love. I mean, it sounds wrong, but hold with me here. My sister would end up being extremely worried, and she would be praying day and night for my salvation, and she would, for the rest of her days, just be terrified that she was never going to live in heaven with me, her baby sister. And I think that just not disclosing that to her is beneficial to her as well as me. But other than that, I think it is really important that we live unapologetically. And it's important to listen and to try to understand people's motives and where they come from. In the situation with my sister, I mean, and many times people of other faiths or people that simply do not understand are going to be judgmental. And it's coming from a good place. It truly is. It's not so much them just being upset that you don't believe the way they believe and everybody should be on the same team. It really is, they have this worldview that differs so greatly from mine or yours, or and it's hard to swallow, but you have to understand where they're coming from. And oftentimes it really is coming out of love, because if all you are told day in and day out is that if you don't follow these rules, if you have impure thoughts, if you are jealous of someone, if you are a homosexual, if you yada yada, you name it, you are never going to be perfect in the eyes of God, period. So you spend your life an eternal fuck up. So yeah, I just couldn't jive with that myself, so I had to get out and ask my own questions and give myself the freedom to go back to that child that I was with my little necklace, asking it questions, trying to figure things out. And I think if somebody comes at us and they say these things, you're going to hell, you're messing with fire, you're inviting evil spirits into your home, or how could you have that around your children? It's important to, I think, delay your reaction. And when you do respond, try to put some thought into it and respond calmly, and don't react, and avoid being defensive. It really is important that we try to consider where these people are coming from and their true intentions, and not to take it personally, um, kill them with kindness and live well. It is the best thing that we can do. And so, yeah, I'm going to check to the comments and see some things here. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Keely. Karen says, some bigoted guy told me I'm going to hell. I was happy to hear it, because I didn't want to go to the heaven which he was going to. Well, and I think that's just it. When we come into the world, we don't come in with a church. We come in this naked, wet baby, and we're here to ask all these questions and to learn and to grow ourselves. Nobody else is responsible for you but you. And people imposing their beliefs on you, like I said, you have to really try to understand their intentions and why they feel the way they do. And other areas in which the stigma comes from is things like Hollywood. I mean, you think about it, when you're sitting there watching a movie, people, they've got this mystical setting, with all these beads and curtains and candles and crystal ball, and it's something mystical, and they lay out the death card and the tower card and the devil card, and the tarot reader is just, oh my gosh, doom and gloom, and it scares the fuck out of people, and then we've got tarot readers that are unethical, people that are, out and out scammers that give us a bad name too. I read recently about one that was in New York that scammed this woman out of almost $60,000, and it was all because of a curse that she had to break. Anytime that there's a curse or a candle or a charm or something that, please, please, yeah, I think irresponsible tarot readers can cause irreparable harm to what we do and to our reputation as a whole. So, let's see. Also, I think it's important that we express with our querents too that they need not put all of their faith in us and our words. And we have a great responsibility to make sure that when we're reading tarot for someone, that we're not saying, well, this could indicate a death, or, my sister Lisa, who, like I said, also reads tarot, was recently in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And she went and had her cards read by a woman down there who had a good reputation. But she sat there and she flipped all these cards over and told my sister that one of her children was going to die within the year, that she was going to lose her home and her marriage. And I think that was all. I think that was all she said. There might be something else. I don't know. But here's my sister, and she's looking at these cards, and she's like, that's not what I see in the cards, But I mean, you have to, as tarot readers, we have to be careful when we have our cards read, that we're not like going, yeah, well, that's not what, because what cards mean to me may not be what they mean to you. However, how dare this woman go in and tell my sister or anyone that someone is going to die, that she's going to lose her home, that she's getting a divorce. Didn't even explain that when we're reading tarot, it's more like a weather forecast than it is a fortune. You cannot predict the future any better than you can the weather. I mean, there's a likelihood that something could happen, but it's horrible. And how dare people do that? So, when you have people who misrepresent who we are and what we do, I think it gives us a black eye. And also, I should mention that same sister, Lisa, back in the 90s, 1998, she had a fitness center in Southwest Missouri. And she wanted to put in yoga in her fitness center. And all the people of the town were like, you better not do that. Yoga is of the devil. We cannot have yoga. You're not going to have any business. And I mean, she knew that was a bunch of bullshit, but she wasn't going to put in a yoga studio in fear that she was going to lose her business. So times have changed since then. There's yoga studios all over Southwest Missouri now. So we're really hoping that kind of the same thing is going to happen with tarot and our other woo-woo things that we have, that people will start to ask the big questions themselves, and just learn that they don't have to depend on someone standing behind a pulpit to tell them, I mean, for heaven's sakes, back whenever my mother-in-law was a kid, playing cards and dancing were the devil. Her father was a Baptist minister, and she was never allowed to dance as a teenager. She was never allowed to have playing cards. And I mean, goodness, things have changed a lot. I have been in churches where they have playing cards, play go fish, whatever. But we do change as time goes on. When you go back into the Bible and you look at some of the things that are prohibited in there, wearing clothing made from blended threads like linen and wool, unless you are a priest, you're not supposed to wear blended threads. So I'm pretty sure that most pastors and their wives and children now all have clothes with blended threads. If you go shopping anywhere, that's what you're buying. People dance. I mean, now there's dancing in churches. I mean, people are hopefully starting to grow and move away from some of these old ideas and things. I mean, back in the day, if you were a woman and you got married and your husband said, I don't think she's a virgin. If your father couldn't prove that you were indeed a virgin before he married you, the whole town could come and stone you. That was just how it goes. And these are the same people, the same timeline, whenever they came out and said, don't use divination or necromancers or whatever it was. I do have it written down somewhere, that Bible verse in Leviticus. I don't pay any attention to it. It doesn't have any power over me. But I am going to read some of these comments here. Let's see. What year was the yoga studio? That was 1998 in Southwest Missouri. That my sister, the whole town was just, don't put in a yoga studio. I mean, it was bad enough that she had a smoothie bar and served falafels. But Lady Knight of Avalon says, back in the early 90s in Germany, every teenager was in danger of becoming a Satanist. Satanic panic. Oh my goodness, yes. LOL. So teen magazines only wrote about the dangers of spirituality, right? And back in the day, Dungeons and Dragons was evil. You go to hell for that too. My mother burned my brother's Dungeons and Dragons books. She burned my Ouija board. We have to be really careful that what we listen to and what we believe, and we've got to seek our own answers. I am not going to force my beliefs onto anyone else. The same thing I've told my children: do not take one person's word for it. You go out and you find the answers that resonate with you, something that makes sense to your soul, something you recognize. Yeah, right? We have to watch out for those evil falafels. My Bible family turned their back on me for going to art school. Oh my gosh. You naughty human, you. How could you go to art school? It's amazing, and it really is. Some of the things that other people deem evil, that how hurtful to have your family turn their back on you like that. I have some friends who got married yesterday. Congratulations, Josh and Joshua Anderson. They got married yesterday. Beautiful gay wedding. And Joshua's mother would not come to her son's wedding. She was in town. She's just a few miles away, but would not go to her son's wedding because and every other day there's something passive aggressive that she's posting on Facebook about homosexuals and how they're going to go to hell and this and that. And I mean, I don't see her posts anymore intentionally. But we have to be really careful at how we handle situations where people judge us and how we judge other people. And I thought when Jess was speaking earlier about, how to respond when someone you love comes out as LGBTQ plus, and I thought about that, and I thought, man, there were some great suggestions in there that go right along with this too. When someone leaves the church, it can be very lonely. And, I know for myself, where I live in Southwest Missouri, in the Ozarks, out in the hills. Yes, I'm a hillbilly. Um, you know, I don't know anyone else in my area that reads tarot. I don't. I would have to drive for over an hour to get to a store that sells a crystal. Um, there's just not very many of us around here. Um, I had a T-shirt on one day, and I was in the local gas station. It's a T-shirt, and it says "Tarot Queen." I was in the local gas station, and the girl that works there saw that, and she read that, and she goes, "Oh my God, you read tarot?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I do." I said, "I'm actually a certified tarot and oracle card reader and collector." And she said, "I would be scared to death to have my cards read. That's scary shit." And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, really?" I mean, it's the way it is. Christine and Celeste, Ozark, like the Ozark Tarot? Yeah, like the Ozark Tarot. The French spelling. Um, so yeah, it's hard, to be a solo practitioner, and I call myself practitioner. I don't even know what I practice, you guys. I read tarot. Um, I read tarot. I scry. I use pendulums. I'm learning palmistry. I have a magic 8 ball. There's a lot of people that would say these are of the devil too, folks. I have runes. Oh, and I have these. Thanks, Y, for teaching me about these Chinese fortune sticks. But, I, folks, don't ever let anyone make you feel less than or make you feel wrong for asking big questions, for asking any questions, and for finding your own answers. Don't let anyone make you feel like you got three heads, or you're wrong, or you're stupid, or how could you're evil, or I promise you, I'm clairvoyant and clairsentient, sometimes clairaudient. If I was inviting demons into my home with all these tarot decks that I've got and all these crystals and all this stuff that I've got, if I was inviting demons here, I would know it. Nah, not a not a one, guys. Um, so let me see what is people are talking about. Yeah, you guys keep talking. I Help me out with this live in this conversation, because like I said, being in the hospital with my son and his gunshot wound, I'm really tired today. And my thoughts are very convoluted and not straight. I'm running on little sleep and coming down from that adrenaline high. Let's see here. Silver Willow says it's still pretty backwards here, except for flashy clothes, makeup, and jewelry. They seem to disregard those rules from the Bible. Yeah, I tell you, it's oh goodness. Lady Knight of Avalon. My dude's grandma is super religious. When he visited as a teenager, she found his death metal CD and told him he couldn't stay at their house anymore. She is more mellow. I still keep my path secret. Oh my gosh. Oh, I know. You know what? I have a cousin who got into a lot of trouble back in the day for having a Backstreet Boys CD because it was secular music. Geez. Yeah, too much hate nowadays. We need to focus on the souls of one another. Yeah, absolutely. We need to take care of each other. There's a whole lot more power in showing love to someone than there is to judge them. And I understand that thought process, and that where they're coming from when they're so worried about people who don't worship that like they do. But I mean, break it down. all under the same umbrella. You've got Catholicism and Protestants, you've got Baptists and Methodists and Pentecostal, Presbyterians. They all worship differently. They all have different ideas of what's right and what's wrong. And while you may not be able to dance in your Southern Baptist church, you can in your Pentecostal church, but it's, I mean, it's, you guys, there's so much freedom in just owning who you are and asking your own questions. And on that day that you do depart this life, you're going to be by yourself, answering for yourself. You're not going to answer to anyone else but you. And don't let people piss on your parade. Um, I know people that left and then went back to the church just because they wanted community, even though it wasn't where their heart was. And I can understand that too, because boy, I do miss some of that fried chicken at the I I loved the potluck dinners. Um, my crystals are evil enough though. Mom doesn't want to know anything else. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, what is it? Yes, and back in the day, my goodness, if you wore black and listened to Metallica, people automatically thought that you were worshiping the devil. Of course, it could be a lot different in all, different places across the globe. I mean, I don't know. My paradigm is right here, down here in the Ozarks. So how someone else grew up in, England or Los Angeles or, Germany or anywhere else, I don't know. But I'm speaking from my experience. And I'm going to be the first person to tell you I am not always right. And matter of fact, most of the time I'm not right. But if I say something, it is something I truly believe. So, um, yeah. So, has anyone else got any suggestions for how to deal with, or do you have any stories about um, feeling judged or feeling like you don't belong or fit in amongst family, friends, the community, work, um, and how do you deal with it? What are some good suggestions for folks who may be dealing with the stigma that goes along with what we do? Walking my path. I wore black and listened to Metallica growing up. I was considered alternative, but it wasn't uncommon. See, where I grew up, there was a handful of kids that did. And um yeah, Jackson says I've never fit in. I tell you what, I don't think I ever fit into one specific group. I just kind of like love on everybody. And um you know what I mean? I When I was in high school, I wasn't with the cheerleaders or the super popular people or the partiers or the nerds, the smart nerd people. I wasn't, I was with everyone. So yeah. Okay. So Silver Willow says, we just don't talk about it. Yeah. So we just don't talk about it. And that's a good point, that sometimes there's just no need to go around and say, hey, yeah, this is what I do. But when you have family members that you love and you want to spend time with, yeah, sometimes it's better to just not say anything. But what if they found out what you did and the extent of what you do? um how would you handle that judgment coming down from them? Let's see. I am from India. I was agnostic and then became spiritual. I didn't fit anywhere. I had friends of all ages, and I was not the guy people liked to be with earlier, but now they say I'm charming. Aw, well, you are charming. Let's see. Eternal Seeker. My friend Keely says, Donna, you are my secret sister. You know, I'm sending all the love I can to you and your family. I love how you make a stand of who you are. We are all part of a special community. We really, really are part of a special community. I'm so thankful for this community and the connections that I've made, not only to just help me learn and grow, but to feel a lot less alone in the world because of who I am, who I am as a person, as a spirit, as a soul. Um, yes, we do have that camaraderie that this is potluck dinner. This is my church, you guys. Being with you all and getting to know so many of you, it's wonderful. And I do appreciate your good thoughts about my son Ethan. That was some scary stuff, man. Healing Days Oracle, same background here. I live in Ireland now, but come from Brazil and Baptist Church. They are not so hard, but I would avoid to tell any of my previous friends. My immediate family knows. Lady Knight of Avalon, if someone judges us, it's not about us, but themselves. Very true. The only thing I can do is be myself and hope that they see I am not evil and that they might start asking questions. Absolutely. Love on them and live well. That is absolutely the best that you can do. And you are right. It is not about us. It is about them. And it is about their insecurities and their worries, because if they are coming at us from a place of love, it really is true that they are concerned and worried about our eternal soul. Bless their hearts. um, let's see. I've just embraced who I am and my gifts of reading tarot. I don't care if I fit in or not. Right on. Exactly. And the older I get, the less I give a shit. But you know, um, sometimes, especially if it's family or close friends, oh my God, let me tell you a story, kids. She doesn't live near me. She lives a few hours away. When I had left the church and I had started picking up my tarot reading again and really exploring who I am and what I need to know, and asking the big questions about my existence. And um, her son is also my youngest son's best friend, and he came to stay with us. And I found out that while he was here, I knew he was acting funny. He wasn't coming up and hugging on me like he usually did, and he would kind of give me the side eye and look at me kind of funny. I mean, he was younger. He's 9 or 10 at the time. Um, and after he went back home to St. Louis, my son came over to me and he said, Mom, Jude's really, really, really afraid of you. And I said, Jude is afraid of me? I'm like his other mother. What are you talking about? And he said that you're a fortune teller and you use parrot cards. Parrot cards, kids. Um, but it really hurt. It really, really, really hurt, because I knew that my friend and her husband and family had found out that I was, reading tarot, and they told their son before he went down there, don't touch any of her, those are evil. you stay away from that stuff. And I'm sure that he had that, his whole worldview changed, his whole view of me changed. And it crushed me to find out that this little boy who I loved so much was now fearful of me. I would lay my life down for that child. And he's afraid of me. And I think it's so wrong. It hurt me so much to think that he was afraid of me and that my friends would tell him. And I know that they didn't tell him to be, you know, afraid of me, but for them to tell, and he has grown up in the church, for them to tell him, you know, Donna Sue is using tarot cards, which he calls parrot cards, that what I'm doing is evil and wrong. He's probably afraid now. That little boy is probably afraid that I'm going to go to hell. And this little boy was telling my son, Sammy, be careful and don't let your mom read cards for you ever. I mean, isn't that horrible? It broke my heart. So that's what I mean about the stigma and having people that you really, really care about turn their backs on you because of who you are and what you do. I'm not going, I never went around waving a flag, saying that I read tarot, and I never, ever, ever once offered or would offer to read cards for them. If they came to me and asked for a card reading, I might ask them why, but it's just sad. It's sad that now even that child is indoctrinated with fear and fear of me, of all people. So let me see here. Oh, hi, Simon. Hi, Kimberly. Parrot cards are the cutest thing. Wish they would educate themselves. Their loss. You're wonderful. Oh, thank you. Hi, Julianne Victoria. Let's see. Healing Days Oracle. Walking my path. Great. Sub to your channel. We'll get in touch. Good. Ascension Waves. Hi, friends. A small change in our program. Next will be a break time, and it will give you the opportunity to catch up with the lives we had. Awesome. Wonderful. I'm sorry for the noise outside. That's my oldest son, and he's just leaving. So, let's see. Question. Are religious people also afraid of psychotherapy? Good question. If we told them tarot and therapy are very much the same, would they listen? That is a very, very good question. But I know that there are a lot of churches who are against anything like pastors end up being the therapist. You're supposed to go to God for all of these things, and your pastor will help you through it. I know that my pastor was also a trained therapist. So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, tarot is what tarot is to one person is not the same thing that it is to another person. Where one person likes to read fortunes with tarot, other people want to use tarot as a mirror, a reflection to see themselves. And sometimes people are afraid of seeing themselves. Sometimes people are afraid of that. Just like, if I have a mirror hanging up in my house, but I don't like that I've got a big old fat zit on my nose or white hair and wrinkles, and I walk past it every day, it's going to upset me, so I'm going to take it down. That doesn't change the fact that I still have white hair and wrinkles and a big fat red zit on my nose. I just choose not to look at it. So yeah, I don't know, but that is a good question. Yes, many pastors, ministers, etc., have degrees in counseling and therapy. Yes. So, yeah. Unless you guys have any other ideas or suggestions for ways to, or stories about when you felt marginalized or felt, you know, like you've been put through the ringer because of who you are and what you do, um, then post them here. I'd love to hear. Let's see. Debbie says, my husband had to go to counseling, and his dad, who is very religious, told him he shouldn't go, as God should be his only counselor. He did a lot of damage. And the problem there is that God should be his only counselor, but in order to get to God, you have to go through the church's God. You have to go through, you can't ask these questions. That's what's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And counseling is a tool, just as tarot is a tool. All of these things that we can use to help ourselves. A knife can cut ropes to free someone from bondage. A knife can also be used to cut your salad for lunch. A knife can also stab you. It's a tool. It's a tool. A tool is a tool is a tool. These cardboard cards are a tool. So it's really, really interesting how people form their ideas and their perspective on what they consider to be scary or evil or bad. And I just think that it's really important going into 2020 that we shine a light on everything that's good and positive and lovely about who we are and what we do. And to be ever vigilant about not scaring anyone with, educating people and letting them know that if they hold this deck of cards, it's not going to come at them and, there's not going to be some sort of demon that's just going to jump out of these cards and attach itself to them. And for heaven's sakes, if they ask a question of these cards and they want to know, I mean, they're not going to burn in hell. We've just got to really erase fear, because I think a lot of judgment just does come from fear and ignorance. So, yeah, you guys, just let's be who we are and own what we do. Kill them with kindness and live well. That is the best thing that we can do, I think. I'm still not going to tell my sister that I read tarot, because I don't want her to, bless her heart, lie in bed, cry herself to sleep, begging God to save my eternal soul, because I don't want that for her. I can't change who she is. She can't change who I am, and her prayers sure aren't. So it's just best that she not know, you know? Yeah. So let me see. What do we have? Hi, Becca and Tangi. Naomi. Let's see. There's my Denise, oh my goodness. Hey, Jen, and everyone here coming in. You're all unique, beautiful souls, and you should all be very proud to be yourself. Love you all. Oh, Tangi, we love you. Everybody loves you, honey. Let's see. Oh, Jen, let's see. What did Simon say? What did Simon say? Oh, I was making political predictions, which became true since 2016, and I was shunned for being a right-wing bigot. But actually, my third eye was just showing me the truth. Huh? Yeah, you're not to blame for what you see. Let's see here. Hi, Jen. I'm glad I was able to catch part of this. I'll have to rewatch back for sure. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I had to leave tarot play date. Let's see, Simon. I was told the reason I couldn't cure my sexual orientation was because I lacked faith in Jesus Christ. Simon? Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with my friend Bobby. And he prayed every day tearfully. And believe me, I know he was at that church every day because I remember tearfully praying that God would change him, that he wouldn't be gay. He didn't want to be gay. He was terrified to be gay. Yeah. You can't change who you are. Let's see. Walking my paths. You had aversion therapy too? Oh, Simon, I didn't know you had aversion therapy. I'm sorry. People are starting to understand that that's bullshit now. And I think that hopefully with more things like has happened since with yoga, like I was saying about my sister's yoga or how she wanted her yoga studio but couldn't. Um, maybe things will start changing about people's perception of tarot too. Debbie says, I'm the same with my mom. If I told her I was a witch and read tarot cards, she'd just worry herself to death. No point. Yeah. It's out of love that we keep our secrets sometimes, you know? Texas Rose, my brother was in a cult, Jehovah's Witness, and when he went to the elders to talk about his sexuality, they traumatized him. He eventually suicided. Oh my, I'm so sorry to hear that, Texas Rose. I cannot imagine. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, we need to, Diana, you're right. We need to embrace all lovely people and stay out of our bedrooms. Yes. Twist the leaf. If my father had known about aversion therapy, that would have been bad. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that wasn't. It's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I watched some documentaries about that and I couldn't. There's no way I could go back and watch that again. It made me physically ill. Ozark Oracle, I now know there is nothing wrong with me. That's absolutely right, Becca. There's not a damn thing wrong with you because you know what? You got away from that indoctrination and you stepped out and you asked your own big questions and you found your own big truths and you're still finding them. We all are. Yeah. Jen, I just want to hug all of you right now. Exactly. Exactly. Group hug. Group hug and a kiss. Yes. Well, everyone, I am so glad that you came and that you listened to me ramble and put up with me because I'm telling you what, like I said, I am really tired and my thoughts are all scattered. I am in no way organized. And I just, I'm glad that I got to come home and do this. I was worried yesterday when my son, yeah, okay, I can't even say it anymore. Let's just say there's a bullet hole that went through my son and my kitchen cabinet. And, oh, where did it go? Ethany's book. I can laugh about it now, but yeah, my son actually, it shot through Ethany's book, Your Tarot Court. So I'm going to need to get another copy. Oh my gosh. Yes. So I'm going to get off of here and I'm going to go check on my boy. And I just want to thank everyone for coming and for putting up with me and everything. And you need to, I know that there's an hour break now before the next live in this event. So I don't have my schedule up here, so I can't even tell you who comes next. But if you um, just click on hashtag New Beginning 2020 and you'll find it. So yeah. So, okay, I'm going to get off here and I'm going to check on my boy and see if he needs more medicine. Because, ouch. Okay, thank you, everyone. Much love, and thank you, Wasima, for um, asking me to participate in this event. I really appreciate it, and I'm honored. Thank you so much. Bye bye.